Trials is back in Destiny, and today I'd like to share my thoughts on the new Trials of Osiris. What is up, guys? Andrew from the Den Men here. Trials hasn't been in Destiny since year one of Destiny 2 with Trials of the Nine, and back then it didn't receive the good press that Bungie was hoping for. It goes even further back with the Trials of Osiris in Destiny 1, starting in House of Wolves, and it was an instant hit with the community. Back in the D1 days, you would talk to a man named Brother Vance, and he would give you a card that would give you the access to the Trials of Osiris. This card had boons to it. One would make it if you lost, then it wouldn't count as a loss. One would start you off with one win, and the last would give you an extra win when you won your first match. Each week, you'd play on one map every time you entered the arena. Trials was different than anything we have ever played before because of the fact that if you got 9 wins without losing, then you'd become flawless. Going flawless was the pinnacle of PvP activities, and it sent you to the Lighthouse, a social space only for the few who have gone flawless that week. Every weekend, players would take their try to become flawless in the Trials of Osiris, and it is back in Destiny 2. This time, the vendor for Trials is the legendary Saint 14. Trials in Destiny 2 requires a 7-win card, and this time around, the boons work a little differently. There are 5 different boons that you can choose from this time around. There is the Mercy Passage, which forgives a loss, the Ferocity Passage. When you reach 3 wins, it will grant you an extra win. The Wealth Passage lets you earn more Trials tokens when completing and winning matches. The Wisdom Passage grants bonus XP from Trials wins, and the Confidence Passage grants a bonus reward from the Flawless chest. The boons work a little differently this time because the Wealth Passage is unlocked at 5 wins, the Wisdom Passage is unlocked at 7 wins, and the Confidence Passage is awarded to the player when you go flawless. It is an astounding change so that different passages will reward different results. Rewards and trials are distributed differently this time around. Tier 1 powerful gear is unlocked at 3 wins, Tier 2 is at 5 wins, and Pinnacle gear, which is the biggest power boost, is at 7 wins. There is also the chest that comes from becoming flawless. This change to trials is a welcome one because more loot given out lets players who are not as good at PvP to still get rewards from the weekly trials. Now that I've gone through a brief synopsis on the mechanics of trials, I'd like to talk about the actual Trials of Osiris themselves. PvP at the time of this video is infested with auto rifles, and what tops above them all is the Hardlight and Suros regime. So the meta right now is not a very welcome one to the players out there who use weapons that one-shot enemies. Most of your matches will be fought having to team shot the other team, and team coordination is key to victory in the trials. Power ammo is not as viable in the trials as it once was in Destiny 1. Power ammo comes on the 3rd round of every match, and it changes up the playstyle of the match every time the heavy ammo round begins. Supers can still turn the tide of any match. Now, a well-placed super will win the round and possibly the whole game for your team. The most prominent supers I have seen this week in trials is Blade Barrage and Thunder Crash, probably because of how easy it is to at least get one enemy down with them. Power level advantage is critical with this week because of the new season's power cap being raised and teams still trying to find the max power level. There were so many games this week where I was paired with level 1010s and I couldn't do anything to stop them because of the significant damage they did to me and the resistance of damage they had against me. It was a little heartbreaking to lose to teams that were only better than you because of their power level, but it also felt so good to beat those same teams who are a higher power level. I think power level advantage is crucial though in endgame PvP because it takes more than skill to become flawless. It also takes time to get ready in the trials of Osiris themselves. The 3v3 format is a lot better than the 4v4 trials of the 9. The 4v4 format was focused heavily on sticking with your team and did not have enough one on one engagements. 3 on 3 requires more skilled single person fighting instead of relying on your team to team shot. It is a really great change of pace to the competitive playlist that was the pinnacle of PvP before Trials came back. It is an interesting quality of change that elimination is back in Trials and it still plays well within the game mode. It really created these clutch moments that the competitive playlist lacked. I really like how Trials requires team communication to win the match, and it achieves most of this with it not being a match made activity. So that means you have to go in there with a preset fire team and not a team of random players. I think the assortment of gear loadouts that was seen this week will narrow down a lot in the coming weeks, with teams becoming more powerful and getting the loot that is meta at the time. I'm almost certain that over time, the power level will not matter as much, with teams continuing to gain power level and will even out the advantage that some players have over others at this time. What I don't like about Trials is the token system in it. Now, how this works is you get tokens for completing Trials matches and then you bring them back to Saint 14. You can only get the gear that you have already unlocked from Trials, so you can't get any weapons from further weeks at the moment. At this time, though, it is hard to say how Trials will shape through Destiny 2's life cycle. I'm sure players will continue to participate in them for a chance to reach the ultimate PvP crown, becoming flawless. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and if you did, if you could leave a like, comment, and subscribe, it would be much appreciated. And I'll see you next time.